Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're going to do a fun video today where we talk about my setup, analog versus digital, that whole realm of guitar playing and things like that. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit like, so we can get more content like this pushed and we can keep growing this amazing community that we have continued to grow quite substantially over the last few months. And so I wanted to talk about my setup today, my rig that I usually go through all my videos. And the rig that I go through is actually a combination of a few things. One, I have a Focusrite 2i2 interface, and then I have my Pod HD 500X by Line 6. Now, back in the day, I used to run an analog pedal board where I had, the tuner, the reverb pedal. I had the Hall of Fame reverb pedal. I had the Boss Blues Driver. I had Ibanez TS-808 Tube Screamer, and some other things as well, like a delay pedal by TC Electronic and things like that. And I recently got rid of a lot of my analog gear just because it was collecting dust, and I mainly go through a digital rig, which is my Pod. And I'm going to show you, as you can see on the screen here, the app that I use to control the Pod, which is an optional thing. It's just easier for me to do on the computer and to save my presets and things like that. But I mainly go through a digital rig. Now, and that's not to say that digital is better than analog. There's some people that prefer the tube amps and analog gear, and that's awesome. I think if you have the finances and you have the space to crank your analog gear, I think that is a better way to go, sound quality wise. There's nothing that can beat that tube amp, that when the tubes start heating up and you can overdrive the tubes and crank the volume and get a lot of those tones. Stevie Ray Vaughan got a lot of his tone because he was able to crank his amps so loud. And the digital kind of falls flat in that area, as well as like digital clipping and things like that. And when you clip in analog, it's not as bad as clipping in digital. I prefer no clipping, but if you were to clip, digital clipping sounds terrible. And so that's one thing you got to watch out for. But the cool thing about the digital rig is, since I live in an apartment, it's just easier for me to slap on some headphones and get that cranked vibe that I need to get without disturbing my neighbors upstairs and next to me, as well as disturbing my wife if she's trying to watch TV. So that's one of the benefits. That's why I mainly run digital. It's just my situation. If I had a full-on house with like a basement and I could crank my gear, then I definitely would. So the gear that I run mainly, you notice that I have my Fender Stratocaster. This is a Mexican Strat. This is a Kenny Wayne Shepherd signature Stratocaster that I got a while back when I was on deployment overseas, and I ordered it offline from a music store. And it's one of my favorite Strats, and I think it sounds pretty amazing. And the other main guitar I use is my PRS Silver Sky SE, of course. And then I go into my Pod HD 500X, which I got used off OfferUp, and then I go into Logic Pro, which you can see recording right here. And so let's just look at one of my patches right here. I just named it Soldano because it's a Soldano SLO 100, and I'm running a 4x12 Brit and a Blackface double as far as my cabinets. And you can choose your microphones here. Right now I have a 57 on Access, which is a the SM57, and then I have the 421 microphone, which is a Sennheiser microphone, and then you have all your controls right here. And then I'll flip the camera and show you a picture of what the actual pedal board looks like, but I can actually go into the effects here, and you can see that I have my effects right here. I have two tube screamers that feed into each other. One I usually use as like a clean boost, and then one I use for a more grittier tone. I have my reverb, I have a chorus. I have this compressor that acts as a boost as well, and then my volume pedal. But there's so much more you can do with this that, and as you can see, I have some other presets here that I like to mess around with, but this is the main one that I go through. I like the sound of the Soldano SLO, and there's just so much you can do on this. You can change the you just go through there. It's a whole video in itself just explaining. But let's get some sounds. I'm going to go through the fourth position, which is the middle and neck pickup here, right? Not bad for a digital. And what's cool about this pedal board, this Pod HD, is I've had processors in the past where you could only build patches with the effects built in, kind of like the Digitech RP series, where you can have a bunch of effects, but you have to build a patch. So you have to switch between patches. If you have a clean patch, you have to switch to like an overdrive patch that you build. And it's not seamless. There's like a hard cut, and it's hard to do live. This is acting as an actual pedal board. As I press the button here, you can see my overdrive kick on without having to change patches, right? And so if I want to overdrive and I'm playing live, let's go to the neck pickup, right? Let's say I'm playing live and I want to use my overdrive, just kick that sucker on. And then if I really want to get into it, kick on that the other overdrive. And then you can mess with the parameters here. You can mess with the drive. So if I want more grit, the drive maybe dial back the output so it doesn't clip as much, right? And you can just do a bunch of other stuff. You can add other like modulation effects. So right now I have a chorus active. And then, you know, you can just have fun with it. You can tweak it, build your tones however you need to. And so I kind of get the analog vibe, you know, the vibe of it. It's not the true analog sound, but being in an apartment, this is as close as I'm going to probably get. And so I just wanted to do a quick video on showing how I get some of my tones and some of my patches here built. I also have the Boss Katana, which I did a video on, kind of reviewing it. And sometimes I'll mic that up and I'll use that as well. And so that is pretty much it, guys. There's a tons of stuff you can like see. This is an empty patch right here, and you can kind of see you could do modulation, distortion, dynamics. There's the wah, the volume, reverb, delays, and then within those you can really get funky with it. So for like overdrives, you can choose, let me kick the overdrive on. You could choose a bunch of different stuff there, right? They have fuzz, face fuzz, which is like if you want to get the Hendrix. For modulation, you can choose Univibes, and you can just have fun with it all. And then as far as amp models, you're good to go. There's a ton of amp models here, as you can see. And then as far as cabinets, there's a ton of cabinet models that you can choose from as well as a decent selection of microphones. You have your dynamics like your SM57, your ribbons, your 121, and then your condensers like your Neumann U87 here. So there's a lot to have fun with when it comes to these types of programs. And so I just wanted to show that you can get good tone without necessarily having to be analog. And depending on your situation, you may want to be digital. That tends to be my situation right now. So I just wanted to show off my pedal board, my pedal rig in a digital sense, as well as the digital amp that I'm using, the Soldano SLO, hoping to have a real one someday. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for sticking around and watching the video, and don't forget to hit subscribe and like. The goal, we're almost at 3,700. The goal is 5,000. 5,000 subscribers will land us another giveaway opportunity, in which I give away what most people answered on the poll recently, a guitar pedal. So people like the idea of getting a guitar pedal. I had one winner already in Canada receive his guitar pedal that I gave away, which was a looper pedal, and I also supplied him with a one spot AC adapter for his pedal, as well as a daisy chain link for the AC as well. So if you want to be a potential winner in a potential giveaway in the future, be sure to hit subscribe, like the video, and carry on with the rest of your day. Thanks, guys, and take care.